On the 11th of September each year, the Coptic community celebrate Inaugural Celebration. This is the beginning of the Coptic New Year. Commemorate the martyrs of the Coptic people who gave their life to the church some 1,730 years ago. First of all, I'd like to welcome Rev. Ken Summer to welcome us to the country. That will be followed by the Egyptian and Australian national anthem.
My name is Ken Sumner and I come from the Ngarrindjeri people, the Langandi people of Dapang, on the Coorong and lakes of southeast South Australia, where the River Murray ends and flows into the Southern Ocean. And I am privileged to speak on this land. And when I give an acknowledgement of country or a welcome, if I was in my own place, I always raise questions, not for you to answer now, but for you to ponder. In this acknowledgement, what are we acknowledging? More precisely, what are you acknowledging? And what does it really mean to acknowledge? I would like to acknowledge our history, both good and bad, and that we learn from the bad so that it never ever happens again. I would like to acknowledge our present and the journey to get here and the current state or condition that it is in, again, good or bad, and to do something about the bad, to fix it. Most of all, I would like to acknowledge our future because it brings hope. And as another Indigenous person from another place in Australia, I need to acknowledge the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, who are the traditional custodians of this land. I would also like to pay respect to the elders, past and present, of the Eora Nation. I would like to pay respect to the youth of the Eora Nation. And I would like to pay respect to the little children of the Eora Nation, who are the future of the Aboriginal people here in this place.
Yes, we do celebrate 480,000 people gave their life for all of us, for the church to enjoy their freedom. We enjoyed it today. The first speaker for the night, your man. He travelled all the way from Canberra to share with you that very special event. Give me a great deal of pleasure to introduce to you the Ambassador of the Arab Republic of Egypt, His Excellency Dr. Hassan Ilazi.
I came here not because of the duty, being with my fellow Egyptians in this very special day, but also to share the moments of happiness and bringing very special greetings from our home country, from Egypt, to all of you. I think this special day, and I'm very proud to be here with you, watching the real presence and success of Egyptian Australians in their new home, bringing their real history and origin from the mother country. And this is a real manifestation of success and belonging for the past and for the future. I'm proud to see Egyptians, Australians, here being an integral part of this wonderful country, Australia, which represent the real sense of multiculturalism and interfaith dialogue. This very special day of celebrating the Coptic New Year and I take the opportunity to congratulate myself and all of you for this special day. I think it is a reminder that we will be always celebrating our special days and events everywhere together. I'm glad that your country, Australia, and with Egypt is bringing this together. Seeing all of you and listening to the students singing the national anthem of Australia and Egypt, I was very touched. I think that kind of real sense of belonging to both Australia and Egypt is giving hope that the future will bring always something good. Although in Egypt now we are facing some challenges, and with the love I can see in all hearts of you, I think I can assume that the hearts here are showing only love for Egypt and for Australia, and we can think that the future will bring always something useful for Egyptian citizens everywhere. And being Australian Egyptians, that will make specific responsibility that bridging between your two countries. Egypt is going through difficult phase, but what I can assure you that this hardship will bring more stability and more uniting Egyptians together for working for the future. The roadmap is real. The transitional phase is going to the right direction. We need to work together in good faith and in good hearts. Once more, I thank you very much for having the opportunity to talk to you, and I thank the organizers, and with all respect to the Honourable Minister and the Honourable Representative of the Parliament, and the President of the Opposition, and of course the Bishop Daniel and the representatives of the Church. Thank you very much for allowing me being with you. Happy Coptic New Year. I wish Australia and Egypt, and with you and through you, more progress for the future.
Our next speaker, I don't know how I'm going to introduce the next speaker to you, as a friend, as the main engine for all the consultative committees in the New South Wales Parliament, a young minister, active minister. Very hard when you talk about a friend to tell exactly how you feel about him. Look, honestly, give me great pleasure to introduce to you Minister Victor de Manella. He's Minister of Citizen and Community, Minister for Aboriginals Affairs. Minister de Manella, he had a lot of pressure on all of us to make sure we work hard for every consultative committee to make sure to represent our community in the right way. With further ado, I ask Minister de Manella to come forward, not only represent himself, also represent the Premier for New South Wales.
Thank you very much for that warm introduction. And let me say from the outset, I'm not that young. I just turned 46 recently. I'm getting older by the day. And yes, and in this political life, you tend to age very quickly. Can I begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of our beautiful land, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, and pay my respects to the elders both past and present, and thank Reverend Ken Sumners for his wonderful welcome to country. It was very thoughtful and considered, so thank you, Reverend. It's my great pleasure to be here tonight at the inaugural celebration of the Nauruz in the New South Wales Parliament. Regrettably, the Premier is away on state business on account of the bushfire that is now raging in the west of Sydney and in the Blue Mountains. So he does give his sincere apologies. But I imagine that each and every one of you would appreciate that he has important matters of state to deal with at this pressing time. But he has asked me to convey the following message on his behalf. Firstly, he says, for Coptic Christians across the world, Nowruz is a time to celebrate and to reflect on the year that has passed. It is also a time to share with friends, families and neighbours and to celebrate the bonds of community. Tonight, for the first time, we mark the Coptic New Year in New South Wales Parliament. This event gives us an opportunity to reflect on the rich history of the Coptic community and the broader Egyptian community in New South Wales. The first Coptic church in Australia was established in Marrickville in 1968. Over the past 50 years, the Coptic community here in Sydney has grown and made a tremendous contribution to the life of our vibrant and diverse city. You have shown how it is possible to put down new roots here in Australia as you hold on to the riches and traditions of the oldest Christian community in the Middle East. Today, the Egyptian community in New South Wales numbers over 38,000 people, and the Coptic community is a strong and vibrant part of this group. Tonight's celebrations are being shared by people of the Coptic faith in gatherings of families and communities through New South Wales, across Australia and all over the world. Coptic Christians are an integral part of the fabric of Egyptian society. This evening we celebrate Nowruz, but also reflect on the common humanity that we share and how we can each strengthen our commitment to our multicultural society that practices the values of tolerance and respect. Here in Australia, we are extremely lucky, and we can be extremely proud of the strength of multicultural traditions. People of all faiths embrace, cooperate, and work towards shared goals, and we are working to strengthen these relationships every day. Indeed, New South Wales multiculturalism is one of our greatest assets. In New South Wales, we can find mosques, churches, synagogues, and temples of many faith groups. In fact, all of the world's major religions are practiced here in our great state. With some 25% of our citizens born overseas and around 40% of citizens with at least one parent born overseas and more than 200 languages spoken here, New South Wales has the most diverse and multilingual workforce in Australia. Tonight, as we celebrate Nowruz, we also celebrate the strength of multiculturalism in New South Wales. It is a celebration of both our diversity and our unity. We have all gathered together here to mark the year that was and to prepare for the year that is to come. The timing of the Nowruz celebrations may be unique to the Coptic community, but celebrating the passage of another year is one of the most universal of all traditions, a sign of our common humanity. And I wish you all peace and prosperity and a very happy new year. Signed, the Premier of New South Wales, Barry O'Farrell. It's also important today, and I speak on my own behalf here, that we do acknowledge the importance of this very important feast. I was, like many of you would have been, very moved by the video presentation, and to think that in that 20-year period in the 3rd century, over 1 million lives were offered as martyrs is just an extraordinary figure to comprehend. We think about in today's society what it is to practice one's faith, and it's regardless of the faith, whether you're a Buddhist, whether you're a Hindu, whether you're a Sikh, whether you're a Christian. And people often ask, how committed are you to your faith? Well, when you look at that video, when you understand history in its context, we really have to re-evaluate ourselves and think what the martyrs really did. And you can quickly understand why that great saying is so true. That is, the blood of the martyrs are the seeds of the church. You know, these are people that did not die with a sword in their hand, but they died with faith in their heart. And I can't think of a more powerful symbolism, more powerful vision for all of society. And one of the great things that we have in our state is an understanding and an acceptance of all religions. And regardless of the religion that you are from, I think all religions would appreciate and understand and value what those martyrs did. That is, they did not die with a sword in their hand, but they offered their lives because of their faith. And that, I imagine, is a universal concept, you know, to give of yourself in the most profound way possible without shedding the blood of another.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you attend the Coptic school, you probably understand what you learn there. You learn to dream, you learn to love, you learn the humility, you learn to read and write, you learn to respect. More things you could learn, but above all, you could learn to play music. The next segment will be, give me great pleasure to introduce to you Year 9 student from St. Mark College, played the violin, Miss Justina Hanna. Our next speaker, another friend, but from the other side of the house. Yes, in New South Wales here in the Parliament, we believe in democracy. We all love each other, we care for each other, we live in harmony to serve the people of our community. Give me a great deal of pleasure to introduce the Leader of Opposition, the Member for Blacktown, John Robertson.
It's a real pleasure to be here tonight at the inaugural Inaugural Celebration in the Parliament of New South Wales. And the fact that we are both here from both sides of the chamber is a reflection of the regard we have for this community and the respect that we have for this community and the great contribution that it makes. Can I acknowledge the many distinguished guests who are here as well without going through all those names? They've all been recognised, except one, which is Yair Miller, who is the chair of the Jewish Board of Deputies, and Vic Aladef, who's also from the Jewish Board of Deputies. The fact that there are so many people here is also a great reflection of this community's respect within New South Wales. And at a time like this, where we celebrate the conclusion of one year and the start of another, it is also appropriate to stop and contemplate the circumstances that many suffer in Egypt. This is a church that knows all about suffering, and we've seen that in the presentation tonight. But one of the great things about living here in Australia is the fact that we are all free to celebrate our faith, whichever faith that might be, or no faith at all. And it is one of the great things about our nation, that we are free to celebrate, to congregate, and to recognise that great diversity that each of us have, and that each of us have brought here to this nation. Tonight is obviously a very significant event, and I don't want to speak for long, but other than to wish you all the very best for the coming year, a year that I'm sure many have great expectations of what lies ahead. But I also want to thank you for the great contribution you make. In my own electorate of Blacktown, there is a church that I am heavily involved with, helping them grow their presence in our community, doing all that I can to acknowledge the great work that they do in our community, with, in particular, the youth around Blacktown, but also acknowledge the great contribution that they do, as I know all of you do, and the great contribution that all of you make to your communities, to your localities, to our state and to our nation. So thank you very much for allowing me the opportunity to be here. It is a real pleasure to share this very special event with all of you tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, now I think at time, we've still got more speeches. Don't think we finished. We had a presentation. I'll be asked the ambassador, I'll be asking His Grace the Bishop to come forward, help me do presentation. I also ask Father Schnuder, and I'll ask Adil Iman to come forward and give me a hand, or give me the present for the school. You know, we got 3 colleges from Coptic College in Australia here: St. Mark, St. Mary, and St. Bishoy. I would ask representative of the school also to come forward. We start with St. Mark's School College. Oh, the school captain. The school captain of St. Mark Coptic College. If there's busy as we could ask the school captain of St. Mary's Coptic College. And St. Bishoy, make yourself ready as well. St. Mary's first, thank you. St. Mark College. Amen.
Here you go. It's very heavy.
Father Schnuder. Could I ask the school captain of St. Bishoy College to come forward, please? Another good friend. Not only just good friend, he's a friend to all of you, a friend to many Coptic community, to many ethnic community. I learned something from David Clark. Wherever he goes, people love him because his nature, he loved the community. I couldn't believe that night will go past without David saying a few words. David is the co-chair of the Consultative Committee. It gives me great pleasure to invite David de Klerk, MLC, to say a few words.
It is a great honour and joy to be here with Your Grace, Bishop Daniel, with representatives of other churches, such as Bishop Irenei of the Serbian Church, representatives of other religious faith traditions, the Jewish community, Muslim community, Baha'i community, and most of all, the Coptic friends. And it's a great joy to be here celebrating the festival of Nowruz, to celebrate the Coptic New Year, to celebrate the 1730th anniversary of Coptic New Year, and that is a mighty, mighty long time. But the truth is, Coptic means ancient Egyptian, and the Egyptians go back not 1730 years, they go back 6,000 years. And when I look out on this community here today, I know that I am looking out on the descendants of the pharaohs of Egypt and the great builders of the temples of Luxor and the great library of Alexandria and the pyramids of Giza. These are the people I know who are before me today. And that is wonderful. Here it is 6,000 years and still going strong. And it's also the occasion to celebrate the Coptic Orthodox Church, because it also commemorates the millions of martyrs that have given their lives to the church. And it's a miracle of the ages that the Coptic Church still survives after all the persecution, and particularly in recent times in Egypt at the hands of fundamentalist extremists. It's a miracle of our times, but you know, our blessed Lord said that he would be with the faithful until the end of time, and he will be with the Coptic faithful until the end of time. And he promised that the gates of hell would not prevail against the faithful, and the gates of hell will never prevail against the Coptic faithful, not now and not ever. It's a miracle of our times that here it is thousands of kilometres away from Egypt, and the Coptic Church is alive and well and flourishing. Your Grace, under your guidance, under your spiritual lead, with many churches and schools we have represented here today, and monasteries and seminaries. This is a wonderful thing with representatives, worthy representatives of the Coptic community taking a prominent place in Australian life, such as Deputy Commissioner Nick Calders, who is here today. But today I'm here not only as the joint convener of the Ministerial Consultative Committee for the Egyptians with my dear friend Tony Issa, who devotes himself continuously to this and to many communities, but I'm here also as a member of a parliament that believes in democracy, and I believe in democracy. And I'm here as Parliamentary Secretary for Justice, and I believe in justice. So because of those two things, I want to say a few words about recent events in recent years as to what has been happening in Egypt, because I know probably all of you are affected in some way. Your family back there, property, so forth. You grieve for the land of your ancestors, and that is understandable. It would be not understandable if you didn't grieve. And can I say this? What has happened in Egypt? Well, 2 years ago, millions of Egyptians, Coptic and Muslim, took to the streets of Egypt calling for freedom and democracy and a better life and reconciliation between the people of Egypt. They took to the streets. And the armed forces put forward a roadmap for democracy and peace. And we know what happened. We know that the Muslim Brotherhood came to power. And we know that Mohammed Morsi became the Prime Minister. But something went wrong because they turned against the Egyptian people. They sold out on their promises. They betrayed Egypt. They set about writing a new constitution, but they excluded all but the Muslim Brotherhood from participating in writing it, so that the constitution of Egypt was to be in effect the beliefs of the Muslim Brotherhood. That's what they were doing. They betrayed Egypt. And the people of Egypt, Christian and Muslim, took to the streets in protest because they saw that the Muslim Brotherhood, which was a wolf in sheep's clothing, had come out in the opening and was now a wolf in wolf's clothing. And that's what the Muslim Brotherhood is. And a few weeks ago, 30 million Egyptians took to the streets of Egypt in peaceful protest. And 20 million Egyptians signed petitions. And they all called for the removal of the dictatorship of the Muslim Brotherhood and Mohammed Morsi. That's what the people of Egypt want. And that's why General Sisi intervened to set aside these people who had sold Egypt out, who set aside these people who are leading Egypt to another dictatorship. I say thank God for General Sisi. God bless General Sisi. So friends, on this day of the Coptic New Year, we honour and exalt the great civilization of Egypt. We honour and pay our respects to the Coptic Church, and we know that the future is a bright future for Egypt, a future of democracy and freedom and reconciliation and economic prosperity of all Egyptians, Coptic and Muslim. Thank you very much.
Give me great deal of pleasure to introduce to you my good friend, Ayman Kamal, Consul General of Egypt.
Thank you, Tony, so much. It's very unfair to speak after David Clark, though. He's my hero in speeches, in improvised speech, so. Well, actually, we should give a round of applause to Tony Isa for all his efforts, ladies and gentlemen, because he is one of the main players in getting us together tonight, along with Dr. Ayman Charobim and Mr. Adil Suleiman. Also, they made a lot of effort for that. So we thank them all for this. It gives me a great pleasure to be here tonight celebrating with you the feast of Al-Nairuz, which marks the beginning of a new year on the Coptic calendar, established by an Egyptian astronomer more than 6,000 years ago, and also known as the oldest calendar in the world. The Coptic Orthodox Church is the largest Christian church in the Middle East and one of the longest continuous Christian churches in the whole world. And the first Coptic Orthodox Church in Australia was established, as you all know, in 1969. And the Coptic community now contributes to the spiritual well-being of the society through many churches, monasteries, a theological college, and through the Macquarie University, which offers a course in Coptic Orthodox studies. And I must say in this regard also that a lot of what has been achieved for the Coptic community here has been due to the excellent work and the great role played by His Grace Father Bishop Daniel, who really was a great servant for all the community, and we all love him for all what he did for the Egyptian community in Australia. Yeah, a round of applause, of course. This year we are particularly pleased to celebrate the Coptic New Year or Feast of Nairuz in New South Wales Parliament under the auspices of the New South Wales Premier Honorable Barry O'Farrell, and in the presence of the honorable members of the government and the parliament. And being among this prestigious gathering, we can truly say, and I myself can say, that we are all Copts from Egypt, and that Nowruz is indeed a national day for all Egyptians. And thank you. We sincerely appreciate the genuine efforts of the New South Wales government in strengthening the social cohesion among all the different backgrounds and its commitment to the ongoing support of our rich cultural diversity. Let me assure you that Egyptian Copts are well settled and integrated into the Australian community. They are known for their academic and professional capacities, and this makes me personally very proud. And all my fellow Egyptians have reached prestigious status in Australia. This was just mentioned by a lot of the previous speakers, as they did all over the world. So, however, we need, as Egyptians, we need to hold to our authentic Egyptian heritage in order to enrich the concept of multiculturalism, which is the essence of being here in Australia. I believe that New South Wales Parliament should continue to stand up for the fact that Australia is a multicultural nation, and I would call upon the Egyptian Ministerial Consultative Committee, Tony and David, and all the members of the committee to establish a yearly tradition of celebrating the Egyptian Coptic New Year in this iconic gathering, this iconic venue. The spiritual leaders of the Egyptian Coptic Church enjoy a lot of wisdom, and we all respect them very much, and they spoke words I shall never forget. Pope Tawadros, God bless him, before immediately when he was here in Sydney and I had the honor of him visiting us at the consulate, he then went to Egypt and he was nominated as the Holy Pope. He said that Islam and Christianity are the two spirits of Egypt, two lungs of the same body. And this is very much true. And also the late Pope Shenouda, whom I had the privilege and honor to meet before coming here to work in Sydney, told me again in his presence that Egypt is not a nation that we live in, it's a nation that lives in us. I shall never forget these words, and I shall forever carry those words with me. I wish all Coptic Australians and Egyptian Australians a very happy New Year. كل سنة وانتم طيبين. Thank you.
Give me a great deal of pleasure to invite to the microphone the captain of the sheep, the bishop, not only for the Coptic people, everyone bishop, my bishop, Bishop Daniel. I just know how to describe your hard work, your commitment to your church, but all what I say, give me great pleasure to ask you to come forward to say a few words to your people.
In the name of Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, one God, Amen. The Premier of New South Wales, Mr. Barry O'Farrell, the Minister of the Citizenship and Communities and Ministry of Aboriginal Affairs, the Honourable Minister Victor Dominello, the Ambassador of Egypt, Dr. Hassan Elisi, the Leader of the Opposition, Mr. John Robinson, the Honourable David Clark, MLC, Member of Granville, the Honourable Tony Isa, the Consul General of Egypt, Mr. Ayman Kamil, Dr. Sipan Karkashian, Chairperson of Community Relations Commission, Parliament members of New South Wales, His Grace Bishop Irenee, Reverend Fathers, Church representative of the different Christian denominations, church ecumenical bodies, community leaders of New South Wales, directors of the Coptic colleges in Sydney, principals of the Coptic colleges in Sydney, Jewish nation leaders, members of the Administrative Committee of the Diocese of Sydney, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening to all. Our Coptic Orthodox Church is one of the ancient church in the whole world. It had been established in the year 61 AD when St. Mark the Apostle came to Alexandria. This is the icon of our patron, Pope. No, this is St. Anthony, St. Mark. We need to see St. Mark, Richard, yes. He came to Alexandria in the year 61 AD and was martyred in Alexandria in April 26, year 68 AD, after establishing our Coptic Orthodox Church, ordaining Pope, bishops, priests, and deacons. From our church, St. Anthony the Great came in the 3rd century. St. Anthony was the founder of the monastic life. According to the rites of the Coptic Church, the bishop cannot be a bishop unless he became a monk first. And because of this, the bishop should wear this klanswa. And this klanswa had 13 crosses, 6 here, 6 here, and 1 here. This represents that the bishop office is the continuity of the apostleship, supported by Christ our Lord. From our church also, dear brothers and sisters, St. Athanasius, our Pope number 20, came and founded and designed the Christian Creed in the year 325 AD, in the first ecumenical council ever in Nicaea. St. Athanasius was the Pope who was recognized in all churches, not only the Coptic Church. So, being a monk in every church in the world, this became because of St. Anthony. Leaving alone our mother church, we are going to talk in our Coptic community here in Sydney. Our Coptic community is very active in all areas of Australia, contributing to the multi-ethnic culture. Our large community in New South Wales extends all over the state. To mention some of the Coptic community, we have some Coptic communities in Sydney, Dabo, Wagga Wagga, Shell Harbour, Port Macquarie, and the other churches and Coptic communities, Queensland and Northern Territories. We are blessed here in Australia with 3 Coptic colleges in Sydney, a monastery for monks in Western Sydney, a theological training college, and many organizations to serve the youth, elderly, and the community at large. And close to heart, to our hearts. We have two organizations which are working among the homeless in Woolloomooloo, Martin Place, and Parramatta. We are very proud of our history, identity, language, heritage, and culture. Here in Australia, we have a hope and desire to establish Coptic study department in Macquarie University. And thanks to God, we achieved our target. And now we have a Coptic study department in Macquarie University. Here, I would like to thank, and especially Professor Naguib Kanawati and Professor Heike Belmer, and two of our youth, Peter Hanna and Lisa Agaibi, who were the dynamo before this. And I hope that one day we have Coptic study department in just one university in our motherland, Egypt. Because till this moment, we haven't Department of Coptic Studies in all universities in Egypt. Tonight, we have a request to the Premier. We as the Coptic Orthodox community want our identity, language, culture, and heritage to be acknowledged by considering the Coptic language to be part of the community language program New South Wales school system from kindergarten to year 12. Tonight, we are celebrating the Coptic New Year of 1730 of the Year of Martyrs. Our calendar commenced in the year 284 AD, the first year of the reign of Diocletian. During the era when Egypt was a province of the Roman Empire, the church suffered 21 persecutions. One of the worst known as the Great Persecution being during the reign of Emperor Diocletian, who reigned from 284 to 305 AD. That persecution continued during the reign of his successor Maximin Dia from 305 to 313 AD. During these 20 years, over 1 million Coptic people were martyred. Sadly, the persecution scenario is continuing in Egypt. In these recent days, for although in June 30th, 2013, 33 million Egyptians, both Muslims and Christians, went to the street in all Egypt calling for real democracy and respect of human rights, which was described by some countries as a coup. And the reality is not. It is not a coup. It is a call for the nation for freedom and democracy. In August 14th, 2013, we still witness many Christian churches burned and many Christians killed by those who promote violence. We will continue to support our people in their endeavor for love and forgiveness, with the prayer and encouragement of the Father of the Fathers, His Holiness Pope Tawadros II. May God preserve his life for many years to come. Tonight, we are celebrating the martyrs. Why? Because the martyrs firmly believed that this world is temporal. Dear friends, don't think ever that we are going to live forever in this world. No. This world is temporal. The martyrs also firmly believed that they were mere strangers in this world, as St. Paul said in Philippians chapter 3, verse 20. For our citizenship is in heaven, Maybe someone is having the Australian citizenship, but our real citizenship is in heaven. St. Paul confirmed the concept that we are strangers. He said in his epistle to the Romans, chapter 8, verse 18, "For I consider that the suffering of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us." I wish to sincerely thank the Honourable Premier of New South Wales, Mr. Barry O'Farrell, for supporting tonight's event and making himself not making, sorry for this time, because he has some circumstances. I want also to thank Mr. Tony Issa, the co-chairman of the Ministerial Egyptian Consultative Committee. And also I would like to thank the organization committee for this event, Very Reverend Father Shenouda Mansour, Dr. Iman Sharabim, Dr. Adil Suleiman. I would like to thank you all for your volunteer and your noted effort for making this night successful. I would like to also to thank all those who made this night great success. I thank the 3 Coptic colleges that delighted us with Coptic art and musician. I thank Mr. Sameh Loka, who delighted us with the Coptic icon exhibition. As well, I thank the Coptic media and all the media outlets who are present tonight. I would like to thank also from my heart Dr. Krishna from India, who I know from his busy time came to this celebration today to be with us as a Coptic community. Dr. Krishna, thank you for coming and being with us today, together with Dr. Rafi. Thank you for all what you have done to me. God bless you and bless Dr. Rafi and also Dr. Medhat Girgis. God bless you. Let me conclude by mentioning one of the sayings of Catherine Mansfield from New Zealand, who departed in the year 1923. She said, "Everything in life that we really accept undergoes a change. So suffering must become love. That is the mystery." I thank you all for your kind attention. Glory be to God forever and ever. Amen.
Thank you, Sayyid. Now I'll ask Dr. Adil Suleiman, please come forward. We got to do Coptic Community Presentation or Achievement Award. I'll ask His Grace to present the award and ask Dr. Adil Suleiman to announce the name.
Thank you, Tony. The Coptic Community Achievement Award is an idea which came upon in combination with the Church and the Coptic community to recognize the hard work of the Australian Copts, who's been working very hard to help and to work within the Australian community. Our first recipient of the award, he joined the New South Wales Police Force about 32 years ago. He's been all over the world to learn about how to police and how to up his skills. He was involved into the investigation of the murder of the Parliament member John Newman, which was the first political assassination in Australia. He also, in 1999-2000, he was involved in the Olympic investigation strike force. I know you should know who is that man by now, but before that, he went to Iraq, he went to Lebanon to help them there. The federal government took him and used his skills. He was a recipient of 5 Commissioner Award. He was promoted recently to a Deputy Commissioner Field Operation, responsible for all 6 New South Wales regions. He's a very influential man in the Coptic community, and we're very proud to call Nick Cardas. His first name is Naguib. I didn't know this, Naguib. We all know you as Nick. Please come in.
I don't have a speech prepared, so please bear with me. I just want to thank all the dignitaries who are here today, and there's so many here today, I don't really know where to begin. Your Excellencies, Your Graces, our elected officials, members of the community, very prominent members of the community, thank you all for being here today. My brother is here somewhere. I've lost him, but I'm sure I'll find him afterwards. He's hiding down the back. 43 years ago, our family came to Australia. I was 12 years old, my brother was 4 at the time, and we didn't have much in our pockets, but we had a great dream, and my parents brought us here for a better life. That's a trip and a journey that probably resonates and should resonate with all of you here in the room. We came to a country that embraced us, accepted us, and nourished us and nurtured us, and we're grateful for that. And if someone had said to me in 1969 when we got here that I'd be standing up in Parliament House with my brother here and accepting an award as the Deputy Commissioner of the largest police force in Australia, I simply wouldn't have believed it, obviously. But it's a country that not only allows us to celebrate and refine and be happy in our traditional cultures and languages, but also allows us to be Australians. I'm very proud to be an Egyptian, I'm very proud to be a Copt, but I'm also proud, just as proud, to be an Australian. And it's that opportunity to be proud of all three at the same time that I really cherish in Australia. Egypt, our country that we love, is going through a tough time at the moment. It's a country that has had tremendous history. You don't need me to tell you that. You heard from others who are far more eloquent than me today. It's a country that has the largest population in the Arab world, the largest population in the Middle East. A country that's been, has had and has been the leader and a real centre for philosophy, culture, politics and religion. What they're going through at the moment is uncomfortable and unpleasant. And we all pray for them, and I beg and ask all of you here today, no matter what religion you are, to pray for them, all our loved ones back there, and to hope that they see through what they're going through at the moment so they can come out the other end. And as Winston Churchill once said, if you're going through hell, keep going.
Our next recipient, she's been working very hard since 1987 to act as advocate for migrants and refugee women since that time. Currently, she's a director of Immigrant Women's Health Service, Commissioner of Community Relationship Commission New South Wales, Statutory Board members, Anti-Discrimination Board New South Wales, and the list goes on and on and on. She's been nominated in 2013 and selected as a finalist in the Premier's Award for Women of the Year and presented with certificate in the Parliament. She was also nominated as one of the most influential women in Australia in 2012 for her human trafficking and forced marriage advocacy campaign. She is a co-writer of 2 books, and she holds a Doctor of Psychology, Doctor of Management in Organization Leadership, and has a Master of Social Science at Bachelor of Business Administration. Please welcome Iman Sharobim.
It's definitely not fair to say anything after Naguib. and I insist in calling him Naguib. Thank you so much. But just one simple thing I can share with you all, brothers and sisters, that tonight is not only a celebration of Nairoz. Tonight, to me, is a beginning of many celebrations of our community, recognition of who we are, our heritage and our history, and identifying our needs as a community. If we have a government who is ready to engage, who is willing to understand, and who is interested in knowing us and knowing our history and understanding our needs and our youth and generation to come, we better speak to them and we better engage with them. I am privileged indeed to be part of the community and to serve all the communities. And I thank you all for being here. And I thank Bishop Daniel and the committee for such a nomination. It is an honor, and I'm proud to carry this honor from you. Thank you.
Don't run away, Iman. I think last not least, before we get to the hot food waiting outside, I think they're going to get cold. I think this token of appreciation, I think, going to be presented by Dr. Adil Suleiman and Dr. Iman Sharabin. It's all yours.
All right, thank you. We prepared a token of appreciation for many of our supporters and parliamentarians. And of course, we have a special one for Premier Barry O'Farrell and another one for Minister Victor Dominello for their guidance and support from the beginning until today. And this is...
Minister,
Of course, those two presents will be sent to their offices. But also, we would like to thank the MC for today, Mr. Tony Aisa, for his continuous support. Tony, please come back to the stage. Tony didn't treat us as a committee, but treated us as a support person. He did not deal with us as a member of parliament. He dealt with us as a brother from next door neighbor. And that kind of feeling and approach made it so easy. At any time, pick up the phone and talk to Tony, and he's always there with the advice and the sound advice, which actually full of wisdom at the same time. Dr. Adil, my co-joint partner in this crime, will present the present.
the next token of appreciation will go to someone very special to the Coptic community. He calls himself friend of the Egyptian. And tonight he showed the real blood and the real truth of being a friend by really reading a lot about Egypt, what's happening in Egypt at the moment, and he's given us, all of us, the real story about what happened in Egypt, not the false story which Al Jazeera is trying to portray. Please welcome David Clark.
With this last important token of appreciation, this man, you definitely, all of you, everyone, every migrant and every refugee is aware of this man, Dr. Stepan Kerkasharian. Dr. Kerkasharian is the chairman and the chief executive officer of the Community Relation Commissions, a place where I believe all of us relate and all of us have been served in this year or 20 odd years ago. Dr. Kirkasharian also supported the event by the advice given by any material also was requested from the Commission without going through the red tape and requests from various entities. Dr. Stepan opened his arm and heart to the committee and to the event and have been a support to the Coptic community. Dr. Stepan, please. From this way, please. Dr. Kirkasharian is not leaving the Community Relation Commission. You have been hearing different stories about his retirement, but personally I believe a man with such a caliber cannot retire, cannot leave the ship and leave us as while we are in desperate need. And I know for sure that for many years to come, Dr. Stepan Kirkasharian will still be supporting and giving advice on many levels. Thank you so much.
Do you want to say a few words?
Of course.
Yeah, I think what I want to thank first of all for this. It was quite unexpected, and I'm really honored. It was actually a spiritual experience for me to be present at the celebration of Nehru's the Coptic New Year in Australia. Some of you, I'm sure His Grace knows this. I belong to the Armenian Apostolic Church, and I was told from a very young age we are in fact same canonically with the Coptic Church. So it is in some ways a spiritual experience for me. But I think what Dr. Sherabin said, this is indeed a very proud day for the Coptic community in Australia. I've seen the Coptic community develop, particularly in the last 20, 25 years. It has blossomed, and it is contributing greatly to Australia. And today in Parliament, to see this event taking place must fill each and every one of your hearts with great pride. I want to correct the record. I am leaving the Community Relations Commission. My last day is the 29th of November of this year. And spiritually, I'll be with what multiculturalism stands for. And I really want to thank you all for this. And it is a great honor, which I think, as Deputy Commissioner said, I'm getting this because of all the people who have stood behind me, with me, and sometimes in front of me. Thank you very much.
We all will stand up for the final blessing.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, we give thanks to you, O Christ our God, for having gathered us here this evening to celebrate Nairuz, the beginning of the new year for all Coptic Orthodox Christians, for all of those who glorify your all-holy and glorious name. We give thanks to you for all of the martyrs who have shed their blood in witness and in testimony of their holy faith, who have laid the seeds and the foundations for the Christian church in which we now live and witness our faith as well. We thank you for those who currently are testifying to the Coptic Orthodox Church through many difficulties. We pray for those who suffer, for those who are being persecuted, for those who are begging and pleading for help. If we can offer nothing else, we can offer at least our prayers and sharing in our faith with them. We thank you for all of those who have gathered this evening, for all those who remember and help the Coptic Orthodox community here and throughout the world, to the greater glory of your all-holy name, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Just to wish everybody a very happy and a very blessed New Year. I have been involved with the Coptic Orthodox Church for many, many years, since the time of my sojourn in the United States of America, and now again and gratefully here in Australia. We in the Serbian Church understand your suffering through our own sufferings also, because of the situation that we have in Kosovo, Metohija, where very forcibly our people are being removed from their historical lands. And so when one suffers, you become one with the other who suffers. And so I thank God for you. I thank God for your faith. and may God continue to bless you for many, many years to come.
My name is Samih Luka, artist for icons, and here for celebrate the New Year, Coptic New Year.
The children's artworks that were displayed earlier, can you give your opinion about how well they interpreted the Coptic drawings and the Coptic paintings?
Yes, in St. Mark, I teach sometimes about the icon and how painting and theology and about everything about this. Yes, I do this, and I have a school, St. Luke in St. Damiana. I teach the icon theology and practice, and the course take about 1 year and a half course.
And what age group do you teach?
In St. Damiana, it is big age. It's engineer and doctor and all study about, and some artists from many church, from Catholic, Mawarna. I have some Greek. I have some artists from Armenian. All school you can come and teach.
What happened is a year ago I was in the meeting with the minister, and the minister encouraged us to propose some ideas where we can celebrate our communities, and it was actually the Nairoz Day. And I just out of the blue, really, I just said, how about we celebrate Nairoz? And I found everybody around the table very ignorant of Nairoz, so I give them a bit of information. And then the minister said, actually, Iman, your idea is good. How about we celebrate it? And it started from that. So the whole thing is actually godly prepared time for us, and event made by God for God. I believe of our destiny as a community to start from here. The community, as you see, overwhelmed with the celebration. Everybody participated. The schools, as you saw, and all the artists and the good heart of the Coptic people participating and celebrating as well.
And you can see the support of the Coptic people here tonight. How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel strong. You know, when you have your people, when you have your community behind you, when you have people from your own nation celebrating you, indeed it gives me sense of strength and sense of power, sense of knowledge of who I am. For many years we kept going around. Every time we have our own Christmas or Easter, we had to identify ourselves as different because, and you keep advising people and introducing your nation and culture. Today, it's a fingerprint in our life that we take it from here, and we work more and work harder to acknowledge our history and our nationality within and among the other nationalities in Australia.
In the name of Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, one God. I mean, today is a remark point in the history of the Coptic Church, because we are celebrating the Feast of the Martyrs according to the Coptic calendar, which had been set or designed according to the first year of the reign of Diocletian, which was in the year 284 AD, when Diocletian killed more than 1 million Christians during 20 years of his era and the era of his successor, Maximin. So we used to celebrate this feast to remember our martyrs and to imitate their faith, and to live the martyrdom these days in immigration land. As martyrs in Australia on immigration land has another dimension, which is resisting the sin. Got the point? Once upon a time I was in a church, and one of the girls said to me, Bishop Daniel, please pray for us, as we every day used to suffer in the culture because of the environment around us. We are like martyrs. The girl said this, we are like martyrs. So the concept of martyrdom is very important for us as believers.
Well, look, I have a tremendous admiration and love for the Coptic community for a whole host of reasons. I have many friends in the Coptic community, many friends, and I find that the Coptic community is one of those communities that has readily settled into Australia to become part of mainstream Australia. And I mean, a very law-abiding community, no real problems with its youth, and I believe that is because of its Christian values, and its values which are Australian values. It's respect for other people, so it's a community that I have great admiration for. The Copts have been around for many thousands of years, and they've struggled. They have many millions of martyrs in heaven for standing to their faith. You know, can I say this? The Copts have never deserted God through all of these troubles, and at the end of the day, God will not desert his Coptic faithful. I believe that absolutely.
First, it's been a pleasure for me to be today, and I'm pleased to see you here tonight after the second time I saw you at the 40th anniversary of the St. Anthony's Day. Look, the Coptic is no different than my own Catholic religion. And as I said earlier, that my own son-in-law who's a Coptic, and I'm really proud of him to be a Coptic and been integrated to our communities in a different way. I think when I learn about the history of the Coptic, I feel very much attached and close to the community. I think the suffering of the community is so much of the suffering of I am Maronite, because I'm from Maronite for the part of the Catholic religion. And I felt the community have been doing a great contribution for the countries here, and their achievement is great, and I think they should be honoured in a different way.
And for our viewers, can you just state your actual title and involvement in the Australian community?
My involvement in the Australian community? Being Australian, from Lebanese background, certainly I have to do my own contribution toward the country. He did welcome us and opened the door for us. This country gave me the opportunity, my own country did not give it to me. So I think my involvement with the Australian community, as a normal for any person, he loved the country, he loved to be part of the country, be able to give back what the country gave to me.
And what is your involvement with the Australian community? Are you a member of Parliament, or are you a police officer?
Mate, you want me to spend here 3-4 days just to briefly talk about my involvement with the community. Look, I'm really deeply involved with the community, with community organisation. I'm really started with community organisation group. I was involved with local politics. I served 25 years on council. I was the Lord Mayor of Parramatta City Council. I was involved with the community in a big way. Then I moved into the state parliament to serve the community at a different level. Look, there's many ways you could get involved with the community. I think from the day I came to the country here, I felt I'm a part of this community and I have to give back what I've been given the opportunity to be part of this community.
And any other words you'd like to say to the Egyptian community on the feast of El Nowruz?
I'm pleased to be called a friend, and tonight I just want to wish everyone a happy Coptic New Year. I think it's meant a lot to everybody, and I'm really touched my heart when I heard the Coptic student sang the Israeli and the Egyptian anthem in their own language, and I really touched my heart when I saw the Coptic, not only the Coptic, not even old Coptic, they played the drum, and the girl played the violin. It's enormous feeling. You cannot describe it when you see a young generation be able to learn their own culture plus move on with the country of birth here.
Thank you very much, Peter.
It's been a pleasure.